Welcome to this demo of Spectrum Protect Plus version 10.1.6 Kubernetes support. We introduced Kubernetes backup restore capability in version 10.1.5, and at that time it was through the kubectl, and it was for the local snapshots of an individual persistent volume that could then be offloaded to the Spectrum Protect Plus server. In version 10.1.6, we're expanding this to include not only PVCs, but also namespace or label-based snapshots via either kubectl or the Spectrum Protect Plus user interface. So in this demo, I'll show you how you can utilize the Spectrum Protect Plus user interface to create and assign service level agreements that would cover in-container snapshots, copy backups to Spectrum Protect Plus, replication to a second vSnap, and even copies or archives off to Spectrum Protect or the cloud. We'll also look at doing backups from individual PVCs or all the PVCs in a namespace or all the PVC cluster wide with the same label. I'll also show you a restore, and I'll show you how you can create a Spectrum Protect Plus user interface report on the Kubernetes backup. So with that, let's go ahead and get started. When you install the Spectrum Protect Plus code inside of the Kubernetes environment, it will automatically register a cluster inside of Spectrum Protect Plus. And here we can see that Sirius 09 cluster that we registered with the installation I did in the other video. If you click on the Manage Cluster button, this will take you to where you can see the host addresses, and you'll notice that our host address is there. Next, you need to associate an service level agreement policy with the cluster. So you'll want to go into Manage Protection, Policy Overview. You can use the default container policy, but not the gold, silver, or bronze. Or you can click on the Add SLA Policy button and create a new policy. First, you'll give it a name, and then you will choose Kubernetes as the type. Next, you'll need to choose the snapshot protection. This is how frequently it will create a snapshot inside of the Kubernetes environment. We're going to go ahead and have the Kubernetes retain its snapshots for 10 days and take a snapshot every 1 hour. Next, you'll enter the start time. You can also enter a snapshot prefix that will be utilized inside of Kubernetes for each of the snapshots. And we'll call that hourly snap. And now you have the choice of if you wanted to also take a copy of the most recent snapshot and send that to Spectrum Protect Plus. You do not have to have this occur. If you do not want the snapshot to be sent to Spectrum Protect Plus, you will not specify a backup policy. But in our case, we do want the most recent snapshot to be sent to Spectrum Protect Plus. So we'll go ahead and click on Backup Storage. We'll choose to have the Spectrum Protect Plus retain that snapshot for 10 days, and we'll have the snapshots sent every 5 hours to Spectrum Protect Plus. You'll then choose the target site for your Spectrum Protect Plus server. Now do note that you can also add in a replication option where the Spectrum Protect Plus copies will be replicated to another Spectrum Protect Plus vSnap. And you can also choose to have those Spectrum Protect Plus copies sent to either Spectrum Protect or to a cloud. Go ahead and save this policy and go ahead and click OK. We now need to assign this SLA to either a Kubernetes PVC, to an entire namespace, or via a label that stretches across the cluster. So let's first assign the SLA to PVC, and this is the same functionality that was in the previous release. So go into Manage Protection, Containers, Kubernetes, and you'll see our Sirius 09, which is our cluster. If you drill down, you'll see the default and the test namespace, and underneath the default, we have this specific volume. So we'll go ahead and choose that, and then we'll scroll down and we'll choose our SLA that we just created, the Sirius 09 test SLA. Then we save that. And at that point, we've associated that specific PVC to this specific SLA. And in fact, as you can see here, you can associate multiple SLA policies with multiple PVCs or multiple clusters. If you wanted to assign via the label, first of all, figure out which labels you have. So from Kubernetes, you can issue a kubectl get pvc-n test that will show you your PVCs. And then you can do the get pvc-n test -- show - labels. And here you'll see we have a couple labels. One is going to be department, where we have shipping and a sales department. The other labels that we have are going to be the team, and we have team green or team red. Inside of Spectrum Protect Plus, if you go into Kubernetes, drill down on the cluster, click on the view and select label, you'll now see the team red, the team green. So if you drill down, you can actually see which volumes are associated with those specific labels. So here we can see there's 2 volumes associated with this specific label. So back in Series 09, we'll go ahead and check the label department equals sales. And then if we go ahead and select an SLA policy, and we'll choose the Series 09 SLA, and we'll click Save. Here you can see that SLA policy has been assigned to this label. And if you drill down into the label, you'll see it's been assigned to the volumes across the cluster that have this specific label. If you want to create a label backup, inside of Kubernetes, you'll create a YAML file for a label backup. In here, you need to specify a request type of backup label, and then you would need a specific name for those labels. And in this case, you can see the department is going to be sales. And then we also give the SLA that we want to utilize. We'll go ahead and save that YAML file. And then we can do a kubectl create for that specific YAML. And then that would schedule those backups. Okay, if you want to do an SLA via a namespace, let's go back into Spectrum Protect Plus. First, click on View and change that to namespace, and then choose the Series 09 cluster's default namespace. And we can choose a SLA to go with that specific namespace. And now you can see that namespace and all of the PVCs underneath it are going to be associated with that specific SLA. If you want to do the same association from inside of Kubernetes, you'll create a namespace backup YAML. This time you'll see the request type is going to be backup namespace. We're going to give it an SLA. We're then going to save that and then do a kubectl create against that file. And that will schedule the same as if you had done it through the Spectrum Protect Plus user interface. If you want to kick off a backup job and not wait for the scheduled backup to kick off, there's 2 ways you can do that from. You can do it either from the SLA, or you can do it from the individual namespace or PVC or label itself. So we're first of all going to do it from an SLA. So we're going to choose the SLA, and then we're going to go ahead and click Start. This will back up all of the Kubernetes entities that are associated with this SLA. You're able to choose from the backup to vsnap, snapshot, replicate, or offload options you set up in the SLA. We're going to go ahead and do backup to vsnap. Now when we go and look at the job and we look at running jobs, we can see that this particular Kubernetes backup has started. In fact, you can go into the progress overview and see the current progress of these 3 backups. Okay, we'll go ahead and let that run. If you want to do a snapshot backup of an individual or multiple PVCs inside of an SLA, click on the Ad Hoc Backup, choose Select, choose the SLA you want to choose the PVCs from, click Next, and then choose which PVCs you want to back up by clicking the plus sign. That will add it to the right-hand side. And once you get your backup list, go ahead and click Next. Review that information and then click Submit. And now that backup job has been submitted. If you go into the jobs icon, you will see that on-demand snapshot only. Remember, this is only a snapshot backup of those specific, in this case, single PVC being done. Let's go ahead and do a restore. You can choose to either restore from the copies inside of the Spectrum Protect Plus vSnap or the copies inside of the Kubernetes. Go ahead and click on Restore. Choose what you want to restore. In this case, we want to restore this particular volume. You'll add that to the list on the right-hand side. Click Next. And now you're going to say, do you want it from the copy or do you want it from the snapshot? The copy is inside of Spectrum Protect Plus. The snapshot is inside of Kubernetes. Then you're going to either choose on demand or reoccurring. We only want this to happen once, so we'll do on demand. Choose which backup we want. We'll go ahead and choose that version. We'll enter a new name for the PVC. Go ahead and click Next. You'll review your job options here, and we'll go ahead and take the defaults and then click Submit. And go ahead and click OK. And now if you go to Jobs and Operations dashboard, you'll see that the on-demand restore job is running. So now you can see that our restore has completed, and we can switch over into the Kubernetes environment to see the restored volume. Issue kubectl get PVC --all namespaces. You'll see here at the bottom this test snapshot restore that we just restored. And you can check the labels on that, and you will see that all of the labels that were associated with the original volume have been brought back for this volume as well. Inside of Spectrum Protect Plus, we'll see that new volume once another inventory job is run. So usually inventories are run prior to any of the restores or prior to the backups. So if you want to see a recently restored volume, just go ahead and click on the cluster and then run inventory. And now when you drill down, you'll see that new restore volume there as well. There is a report inside of Spectrum Protect Plus user interface covering the container backups. So if you go into the reports and logs and then click on reports, you'll see the container persistent volume backup history. If you click on the arrow, this will run the report immediately. You can choose which PVCs you want to report on, which types of status, if there's an SLA policy or a backup history. So we'll just go ahead and choose a few of the SLA policies that we've been using to protect the Kubernetes environment. And then we'll click Run. And you'll see that report is generated immediately. Of course, you can download this report and save it if you'd like, but you can scroll through it here and look at the type of information that it reports on. And this will include both successful as well as failed backups. We can also create a custom report. So once again, go into Reports and Logs, click on Reports. This time, click on the plus sign next to the Container Persistent Volume Backup History. And here you can go ahead and enter things like a description. You can then modify the report parameters as needed to select just what you want to show up in this custom report. If you wanted, you could add a schedule by clicking on the Schedule tab and filling that out. Go ahead and save the report. Click OK. To run the report right now, click on Start, click Run, make any customizations, and click Run again. And now you'll see the output of the customized report that you could also download. So in summary, I've shown you how in version 10.1.6 of Spectrum Protect Plus, you can create backup jobs either using the Spectrum Protect Plus user interface or via the Kubernetes kubectl. And those backup jobs can do individual PVCs, of all the PVCs in a namespace, or all the PVC cluster-wide with the same label. Likewise, you can do restores, and you can generate two types of reports, either the out-of-the-box report or a customized report on the Container Persistent Volume Backup History. Thank you very much.